Welcome to another episode of Mythic Drafting with another draft of March of the Machines. And taking a look at our first pack, we have Invasion of Karsus, which is deal 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. And you get a 4/4, which when it flips, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. We've got Stoke the Flames, another solid red card. Preening Champion, Merciless Repurposing. And some of the better red commons, the 5/5, and Rail's Reinforcement is also super sweet. This card's a little bit awkward because when it comes in, it's going to kill most things, and you're not actually going to be able to flip it a lot of the time. It is, however, just a pretty decent card in terms of clearing the battlefield. I think the correct pick here is probably Merciless Repurposing or Preening Champion. I think I'm going to start off the draft by taking the Preening Champion over all of these other cards. I've been really impressed with this card. It's just super efficient at all stages of the game. It allows you to convoke easily, and is also just a threat as a 2/2. You can leave the 1/1 back to convoke. Really sweet card. Now I've got an Amori the Collector, which is a good creature, but it's not one you can typically companion unless you literally go all in and you have all your cards be creatures. And it just makes spells you cast of the chosen type cost 1 less to cast. That would commit us to black or green. And here there's a Phyrexian Censor, which I like, but the card I'm going to take here is Captive Weird. This card doesn't look amazing. It's 1 blue for a 1/3 defender, and you can transform it. And when you do, you get a 3/3, you exile the top card of your library, and you can play that card until the end of your next turn. I think part of the reason this card is so good is because of Convoke. It's an early body for Convoke, it's an early defensive creature, and then it generates card advantage and actually provides a pretty decent body at 3/3. I think it's worth taking over the Amori here, given we've already got 1 blue card. If it was pick 1, I think I would take Amori, but pick 2, I'm happy to take the Captive Weird there. Now we have another Phyrexian Censor, we have a Harried Artisan, we have Volcanic Spite. We also have Invasion of Xerix. Blue and white is one of the better decks in the format. We're already committed here, not committed, but we're already deep into blue with our first 2 picks. This is effectively, in our mind, a white card. So we're not taking the land here. I also like Sharnus to Say's Legacy and the Cosmic Hunger, but I think I'd much rather take one of these, the white cards or the red cards here. I think here I'm going to take the Invasion of Xerix. I think there's an argument for any of these cards here, but I think this is good in an aggressive blue-white deck, and we've also passed some very strong red cards, so we may as well keep feeding that signal and just hope that we hook a few people into red and can get hooked up in blue-white in the next pack. Now we have an Expedition Lookout, but we also have an Invasion of Ulgrotha, we have Oracle of Tragedy, but here I think the pick is just going to be the Kenra Spell Spear. This card is very, very strong. It's a Trample Prowess 2/2 for 2. You can flip it into a Trample Ward 2 with double Prowess. I have seen some pretty sweet draws here. We have passed a little bit of red so far, but there's a chance we wheel like a Rail's Reinforcements. We might, from our first pack, we may wheel this one. And this is just too high an upside of a card. There's also an argument for the Invasion, but I think this is just much better, and we're going to take the Kenra Spell Spear here. And now we're going to immediately switch back into white because Wrath Weatherlight Steward is a fantastic card in blue-white. It's blue and a white for a 1/3, and then whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you may tap 2 untapped creatures. If you do, you draw a card. You can also pay 5 to give all your creatures +1/+1 and Vigilance. In a set with Convoke, it's amazing. Fits well into the blue-white deck. Happy to pick it up here. There's also, if we wanted to stay in red, we could take the Prankster or the Wren's Resolve. Neither of these cards. Pranks is fine, this card's not that good. There's also an Overgrown Pest if we want to go into green, but given we already have the Invasion, happy to pick up Wrath there. Now, there's an Order of the Mirror, there's a Halo Charged Scarb, but there is also just Phyrexian Censor here. It's a bit awkward in the blue-white Knights deck. I'm not sure how good it is in that deck. I wonder if we're meant to just take the Order of the Mirror here. take the 2-drop to pressure the knights, as opposed to, Phyrexian Censor works awkwardly with Invasion of Xerix in that if you have the Censor in play and you play Invasion, bounce that thing. If you can flip this, you actually can't cast the second spell because the backside is a non-Phyrexian creature. So I think here, I'm going to prioritize taking the aggressive 2-drop over the other cards. We're also pretty committed to blue, I think, and not particularly committed to any other color yet. Similarly here now, we don't have any great cards in white. We do, however, have... there is the Sunblessed Guardian, which is a 2/2 for 2, and he could transform it, and effectively it becomes a 3/3 that can bash and create another 3/3. But here I'm just going to take the Storm Sculptor, and effectively we're hedging our bets a little bit here. We could end up just being a Jeskai deck, playing all 3 colors here. But we're sort of just hedging at the moment between all these. Now there's a Marauding Dreadship, which is good with the prowess. I think it's fine in the blue-red deck. I think we're going to take it over a weaker blue card that we might not play. So we'll take the Dreadship. And now I've picked up Wield the Rouse Reinforcements, which is a great sign. If we're going to go into some kind of blue-red Convoke deck, this is the card that we want in order to do this. Also, like that the Furnace Host Charger Wield there. The cards that were taken were Stoke the Flames and the Rare. So it's possible there's a couple of people in red to our right, to our left, sorry, but we're just going to have to deal with that. Now we could take Infected Defector for the Blue-White Knights deck, but I think we just pick up the Thunderhead Squadron. It's fine in blue-white. It's good in blue-red. Oh, wow, and Harried Artisan Wheels out of the previous pack. So there was a Volcanic Spite in here, which means that somebody took that, but nobody else has taken this, and it's made its way around the table. So that's a great sign for the red. And I think here we'd be leaning pretty heavily into red at this point. Now the choice is between Zada Hedron Grinder and the red-white dual land. Zada is interesting. I think we're just going to want to take the dual land. Living the Dream with Zada is sweet, but I think it's more likely that we end up splashing the Wrath or the Invasion, depending on the way our deck is drafted at the end. So keeps us a little bit more open. Potentially play some kind of absurd white rare. Speaking of, we have Progenitor Exarch here, which is an XX white, and when it enters the battlefield, you incubate 3x times, and it can transform incubate tokens you control. I think here we could take Tetsuko. Tetsuko actually will work quite well with Rouse Reinforcements, the Order of the Mirror, Printing Champion, Wrath. It's possible that the pick here is actually just taking Tetsuko to create unblockable creatures for us instead of going down this more splashy route, which I don't think we necessarily want to. Also, Tetsuko makes Marauding Dreadship unblockable. I actually think, if this is pick one, pack one, Progenitor Exarch is much better than Tetsuko, but here Tetsuko has a lot of ways already in our deck to interact. I think is going to be the pick here. So now we have Invasion of Gobakhan, which I think is more of a constructed card. There's also Streets of New Capenna. Eyes of Gataxis is good, especially with cards like Spell Spear. But I think the pick here is just going to be a pretty easy Apheria's Dispersal. After Printing Champion, it's the best blue common. And in these blue-white, blue-red aggressive decks, it's a good way to stay the tempo and keep pressuring your opponent. So we can see here, there's still some red, which is a good sign, but we're going to slam Transcendent Message here, and I think we're going to move pretty heavily into this blue-red Convoke deck here, because this card is awesome. It's X quad blue, but you draw X cards, and it has Convoke. So we can effectively imagine you've played Captive Weird, Rouse Reinforcements, and you played Printing Champion. You have 5 bodies on the field on turn 4. You could theoretically draw 5 cards on turn 4 with Transcendent Message, and Joyful Storm Sculptor by itself makes this draw 4. So happy to pick this up. It's a card I've wanted to play this whole time. Wow, and now we have Bloodfeather Phoenix and Stoke the Flames, as well as Storm Sculptor. So this is pick 4, and I actually think there's a chance that this thing wheels. We don't have any removal. As much as I would love the Bloodfeather Phoenix here, I think we just have to take Stoke the Flames for removal. It's pretty unlikely we're going to end up running these white cards, but here I think there's no way we can not take the Stoke. So now we have another Storm Sculptor, but we have an Invasion of Mercadia here. So again, this is a tough pick because Invasion is really sweet in that you enter the battle, when it enters the battlefield, you discard a card and you draw 2 cards. This is a common, this is Tormenting Voice from Shadows over Innistrad. Then the backside is you can discard a card for 3 and create 2 1/1s, and they get +1/+0 and gain haste. So I think we're going to take this for the card advantage and hope to God that these 2 Storm Sculptors wield, because if they do, our deck will be sweet. Oh wow, now we pick up Volcanic Spite here. I wonder how much of this is to do with red being rated as the worst color, and I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like red, but if it's this open, I mean, it's just going to be fantastic. So now Judith is the Scourge Diva. Other creatures you control get +1/+0. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Super solid card, but I don't think we're going to disrupt our mana base for it. And there is a Shatter the Source here, which can kill any battle almost, kill any creature almost, artifacts, planeswalkers, and is really good in the Convoke decks. So happy to pick that one up here. Now we have an Oracle of Tragedy or another Dreadship. I think with the Tsuko, I'm leaning towards just taking the Dreadship here. I mean, having a 4/1 haste that can't be blocked seems good. It's 2 bodies, efficient. Pretty happy to pick that one up here. It's also a non-creature creature spell for our Kenra Spell Spear. So now we can choose between Expedition Lookout, Oculus Whelp, or the Pranksters. I think I'm just going to take the Invasion of Xerix though. I think it's unlikely we play any of these other cards, and there is a chance that we end up splashing all of these cards. Here we're going to pick up an Eyes of the Gataxius, another non-creature spell. So now we have a Halo Charge Scar, which I think with Gataxius, Dispersal, Spite, Shatter the Source, and Transcendent Message, it's a pretty sweet one to pick up to just give us that recurrent. Wow, and we wield one of the Storm Sculptors. Can we wield the other and have triple? So I think this was the pack with the last one, and I don't think we're going to see the last Storm Sculptor, but we did wield one of them, which is absolutely massive. The fact that we got to take the Stoke the Flames and also pick that up is fantastic. So, wow, we've opened one of the better red rares here with a 4/4 Trample Haste. Whenever it deals that much combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker or battle. So, really strong card. There's also a Gigantha. We can't play that in our deck given we've got Stoke the Flames and Transcendent Message. Wouldn't mind wheeling this. I think it's one of the weaker battles, but we'd probably play it to give it a try. But here we're just absolutely slamming Raptor. It's a fantastic one for us. Speaking of fantastic cards for us, the Xerix Strobe Knight is incredible in this deck. Being a 2/2, it's going to be pretty easy to double spell in this deck here, and very happy to pick that one up. It's a 2/2 Flying Vigilance, and then you can tap it to create a 2/2 white and blue knight creature token with Vigilance if you cast 2 spells. So given we have a lot of cheap cards here, a lot of Convoke, I think it's going to be pretty easy to pull that one off. Given the way the deck's panning out here, I think it's very unlikely that we're going to want to splash these cards or play weaker off-plan cards like the Pyretic Prankster. But now having said all of that, there is a Monastery Mentor. So this is one of the mythic rares I've wanted to play with in this set. It's 2 and a white for a 2/2 with Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with Prowess. Now we already have 7, 9, 10 non-creature spells in our deck. Monastery Mentor would be absolutely nuts. We already have 1 dual land for it. We can hopefully wield this Tranquil Cove. And we can, this is our 24th card in our deck already. So we can actually prioritize here, picking up the duels over almost anything else. So super happy with Monastery Mentor there. And now we followed up with another Strobe Knight. This pack is going pretty well for us. This draft is going pretty well for us overall. So I'm going to slam that one. And now, I mean, we're going to have to cut, like, you know, we could cut the Monastery Mentor in the land and play 23 cards as it is. I just don't know what the cut would be here. I mean, Invasion could be the Eyes of Gataxias, but I'm not sure what it is yet. Okay, so now there's the Alabaster Host Intercessor. I think this is going to be the pick here over all of these other blue and red weaker cards. The reason for this is it's another white card, but it has plane cycling. So it's a free source here to fetch the planes for Monastery Mentor. And so if we play 1 planes in our deck now, we're going to have 1, 2, 3 sources. And now we can pick up a Saltwater Cliffs here over all of these cards which we aren't playing, which is just going to improve our mana base. And I think at this point we're almost certainly going to run Monastery Mentor in this deck. There's another Thunderhead Squadron, Order of the Mirror, but I think here we want Cyber Cryptomancer. It's possible that we play it in order to protect things like Monastery Mentor. I'm not sure if that's going to be something that we're going to want to run. We've got a Furnace Gremlin and an Oracle of Tragedy. Again, I don't think we want to run either of these cards. They're not particularly on plan for us. This card's a lot better in the red-black sacrifice deck. So now there's a Shatter the Source, there's an Oculus Whelp, and an Invasion of Kaladesh. We already have, so we have 3 removal spells here, plus the Alabaster Host Intercessor. I think it's actually more likely we play second Shatter over the, over the blue-red battle. So we're just going to take that. Now we'll take the Furnace Host Charger here. Not particularly great in our deck. Can just take Expedition Lookout, but I don't think any of these cards are making the cut here. It's going to be tough to cut the last few cards here. So we have to cut... Well, we have 28 playables here, so we have to cut 5 cards. So it's going to be a tough cut here. I think what I will do is I will pause the video, have a look at the deck, and then I will resume the draft with sort of the final selections and talk you through my final picks and how we're going to round this one out. So I will just do the final pick here, and then I'll see everyone in a moment to finish the deck. Alrighty, so this is the deck. I've sort of narrowed it down to 44 cards here after cutting a Shatter the Source. And the last 4 cuts are going to be the Furnace Host Charger, the Cryptomancer, and the Order of the Mirror. And then we're going to cut 1 of the Marauding Dreadships. I think the reasoning for doing this is that we want to have all these Convoke cards to take advantage of our early plays and double spell. We want all of our spells here for Monastery Mentor, and yeah, the Marauding Dreadship just doesn't give instant bodies for Convoke. I'm happy to play 1 with Setsuko, and it's just a good card in red, but I don't think we want the second one. And then with the Monastery Mentor, we've got the Mentor, the Alabaster, 1 land here, and I think we can actually get away with 2 planes here. We really want to be able to cast this thing on turn 3, and we've got 8 sources of the other 2 spells, and given a lot of our cards have Convoke as well, we're going to be able to meet the double and quad requirements of Stoke and Transcendent Message. So with all that done, I will see everybody for game 1. Alrighty, and here for game number 1 on the play with a sweet hand, we're going to get to go Kenra Spell Spear, Xeric Strobe Knight into Printing Champion, and hopefully double spell if we draw any of our Convoke cards. So also got the planes if we happen to draw Monastery Mentor with a Forest Dispersal as well. Rampaging Raptor is another fantastic one. If we can go, you know, if we draw another Mountain, we may even play Printing Champion into Raptor. Although I think it's more likely we would just play the Strobe Knight still. So opponent immediately puts that on that. We're going to get to play out the Strobe Knight here. Now if we just go land, we can play out the Raptor, ideally if we draw a Mountain, and then play, you know, on turn 5 we get to play Printing Champion, Rouse Reinforcements, make another 2/2. That's the dream scenario obviously, but it is possible here. There's also possible for us to bounce our Spell Spear. and replay it if we want to with as far as dispersal. So wow, main deck Atraxas there. That's a good one. Wow, so now we're going to get to potentially really go off here with Transcendent Message. So we can play this out. We can still tap Kenra Spellspear here. We're going to play Raoul's Reinforcements. If we just draw land, we're going to get to draw a lot of cards here. So they've got a 3/3 here, 2 3/3s here. Now, the land there is a good draw. We can potentially play this if we wanted to. But I think here we may actually just want to Raoul's Reinforcements and then bash and hold up as far as dispersal here. So play the Rouse. It's going to get prowess. We're going to attack here. And then next turn we're going to have 5 creatures and 4 lands, and we're going to cast Transcendent Message to draw 5. And then we can start, hopefully they draw some removal, draw some other cards to gun the board up and start dealing with their negotiators. So Chomping Kavu is hitting the battlefield. I think they're going to put one of the counters on one of these, and we'll bounce whichever one they do. So now they're coming in. We get to bounce the 4/4, throw them back a little bit with the tempo there. And I think we're going to want to draw both of these cards. The land is just another card off Transcendent Message, and Eyes of Gitaxias is a nice 2-for-1. No blocks this turn. Now we can slam the mountain. We've got 10, so we're going to draw 6 cards here. I think it's worth holding back at creatures here, and we can also potentially just trade some of them as well, as we're going to have so much card advantage that even if they have a trick, we can triple block here, and then use the Convoke. So they're going to back up here. The Kavu can't be blocked, so we can't actually deal with that. I think they should, so I think maybe they should have put it on this, because then we can, now we can just double block that. They've got 2 of them. Wow. Okay, opponent has a very strong deck. So we're going to go to blocks. They can't have anything here. So we're going to do block like this. They're going to get to kill all these, but not before we do this for 6. Wow, Transcendent Messaging for 6, I think on like turn 6 is pretty absurd. So we draw 6 here. We draw a whole lot of lands. We have drawn a Shadow the Source, which is a great one. And a Marauding Dreadship. So now we have 2 creatures, 5 mana. So we can't play everything this turn that we would like to. What can we play? So we could play Eyes of Gitaxias in order to block the 2/2s. I wonder if we play, we're going to want to play an island here. If we play the Raptor, we'll have 5 mana, so we can't play the Raptor and Shatter the Source. If we play the Dreadship, we can actually use Kenra Spellspear there to activate the Dreadship. So yeah, I think what we want to do is we might actually want to Eyes of Gitaxias first, see what we draw, and then we can use the Spellship to I like this play, because we can incubate here, and now we can Dreadship. We're going to have a lot of creatures next turn. We're not going to attack, and we can trade the 4/1 for the 4/4 here, and then we're going to have creatures in order to block the other creatures here on the next turn. I mean, the 3/3 by itself is going to block these 0/2s. We can also just play, Thunderhead Squadron, Rampaging Raptor, however we sort of want to sequence it, because next turn we're going to have 7 lands. Okay, so that's not going to quite work how they want it to, I don't think. Oh, no, it will. Okay, that's good. So now I think we want to chump here. don't want to go much lower. Yeah, so that's going to put us to 7. I don't really want to go to 4. Our opponent had a really sweet draw here. So now, if we flip both of these, and yeah, we can flip both of these and hold up Shatter. So I think that's what we're going to want to do here. Let's just double check. We've got 7 mana. We flip both of them. We have 3 creatures. We can play Shatter the Source. So I think here we just say go. Opponent's going to have to tap down the Dreadship. Otherwise we get the additional blocker. They're very likely to swing out, but we'll block, kill the Chomping Carvo and go to 5 is the plan. So when this creature dies, okay. So they're going to put it on, I presume, the Chomping Carvo here. On the Bowler Slinger, okay. So now they go to attacks. So they're going to tap down the Dreadship. I'm going to flip this. Flip this guy. Tapping blue and white. That resolves. We go to blocks. I'm going to block. So it's really awkward because it's going to put the counter on something else here. We're going to... But what's going to be left is the 4/4. All that will be left is... it'll be a 4/4 and a 0/1. So I think we can deal with that with our Rampaging Raptor, as well as being able to actually utilize the Dreadship. So block like this. So opponent probably has a trick. They don't have a trick. So we're going to kill the Chomping Carvo here. And see, they may still actually have something because that was just lethal. So they probably would actually want to save it now. They may have, yeah, Angelic Intervention. That's going to be the win for the opponent. That is sweet, sweet green-white deck. That was an awesome draw from the opponent. So that's that game, and I'll see you for the next one. Alrighty, back for game number 2 on the draw. This is a keep. We've got Captive Weird into Tsutsuko. So we'll run out the Captive Weird. We'll probably play this on turn 3 or 4. Just depends on what we draw here. Sort of risky because if we hit one of our higher drop cards, we may not be able to cast it, like Transcendent Message or the Storm Sculptors or the 6 drop cards. So maybe if we draw something else. So now, actually pretty comfortable to just Volcanic Spite this thing. And get to filter away a land if we want. Yeah, we're definitely going to filter a land actually, because we might hit one off Captive Weird. So filter away the land. Halo Charge Scarab's a good one. Now we can attack the opponent for 1. And we're going to get to flip Captive Weird and hold up Dispersal, because I think it's worth paying the 2 life there. So now they have Ayara. They can sacrifice that creatures. So here, let's just flip this. Pay the life to do it. Get to draw the card. Now we get to, bash them for 4. We're going to get to play Storm Sculptor next turn, which is going to give us a huge amount of Convoke for things like Shatter the Source, and we can go Shatter the Source, Halo Charge Scarab, getting back our Spite. Here we're just going to Dispersal out this thing, make them have to play it again, and we can put the land on the bottom. We can definitely want Spell Spear here, so we can put that on top. Opponent has to replay the Ayara. They get to drain us for 1, but that's absolutely fine. Now we just get in again. Bit of Deja Vu. Looks like opponent is either really mana screwed here or they're a mono black deck, which would be pretty cool and makes sense if you've got Ayara and Ayara. So that's pretty awesome. They're either extremely unlucky here. So now all of our creatures can basically get in. And I think we're going to want to do that, except hold back the Storm Sculptor. There's just no point attacking with that. Get in. I think we just want to pay Spell Spear here. If they had a removal spell, I think they would have used it. So we can just happily go ahead and flip this. I think it's going to be extremely tough for the opponent to come back. And they were mana screwed the whole game, so that was incredibly unlucky. I actually realised as well we probably shouldn't have played the Spell Spear there. We had them pretty close to dead and could have played around the Black Wrath there. But I don't think it's going to matter here. We just want to swing out with everybody here. They're going to have a ton of blockers. And they can flip the Incubate token here. And then we just go ahead and kill that. Double Prowess, trigger the Storm Sculptor, and that's game 2 done. I will see you for the next one. Alrighty, back again for game number 3. We have another keep. We're on the play. We've got Captive Weird, Eyes, and Hello Charge Scarb. So this is a perfectly fine hand to keep. We'd love to have a 2-drop, but got all of our colours as well, so definitely can't mulligan that one in Limited. I think one of the things that I used to do in Limited before the changes to the mulligan rule was I would very rarely mulligan, but now, given that there are more, the mulligan rule is more favourable, I think it is actually preferable to mulligan a little bit more than usual. So now I'm going to cast Eyes. Just opponents got some open mana here, and if we had have, flipped this there, we do have a lot of 5 and 6-drop spells in our deck, and don't want to miss the spell there. So now opponent's playing Premium Champion, and I think we're going to pretty happily flip here, paying the life for it as well. And they get a free land off it, and just start getting in for 3. Next turn we can, if they attack us, we can potentially try and flip Invasion of Mercadia using our Incubate token, or we can just slam Joyful Storm Sculptor. Wow, Knight Errant of Eos is a sweet one. So opponent gets to look at the top 6 cards and can reveal 2 creature cards with 2 mana or less, because they tapped 2 creatures to convoke. And they hit double here. That's sweet. They have to discard though to hand size. So I'm going to run this one out. Now the question is, do we play Halo Charge Scarb or Joyful Storm Sculptor? I think we just want to run the Scarb out. Even if we don't hit something to put on top here. We could put Eyes of Gataxius on top. But I think we actually this card's quite good. I think we do want to just put it on top, because next turn what I'm going to do is play out Invasion of Mercadia, discard a land, and hopefully hit something else to play. And then we're going to try and pressure this battle, initially just by attacking with the Scarb. But if opponent, for example, attacks here with Knight Errant of Eos, then we can potentially really get them by, playing the invasion, flipping this and swinging out at them. But I highly doubt they'll. Wow, okay. So now this becomes a 1/1 flyer. So let's start off by just playing the invasion. Going to pitch the plains. We don't need anything double there. And now we can just go ahead. So I think we want, let's say we've got 5 lands, we're going to have 6 mana this turn. We want to be able to double spell next turn. So for example, we could play Joyful Storm Sculptor and Tetsuko next turn. So I think here we just want to run out the Knight. Yeah, we want to run the Knight out, and then we attack the battle here. This is probably going to force them to block with the 4/4. Given that this is a 3/4 Vigilance as well, we need to start clearing opponent's cards as well, but we're going to need to draw something here to deal with the Zephyr Singer. Opponent drawing the Forest there is very good for them. Wow, so Invasion of Zendikar, they're going to get to immediately flip this with their flyers here. And they're going to get a 4/4 Vigilance Haste that can tap for mana. Now, when you have the flyers to play, that card is just ridiculously good. It's going to be tough for us to win this one, I think, here. So opponent is offering us... Really interesting. I don't understand why they didn't attack here with Zephyr Singer. I think we're going to take this trade here. It just stops them from getting that creature a turn earlier. Yeah, okay. So now we have Volcanic Spite here. We could theoretically try and flip the battle here. Or we can just... So we could flip the... Incubate the token, activate the token, attack. They eat one. We ping the Zephyr Singer to finish it off, or just finish the battle off. But I don't really love that line. I think I prefer to just play Joyful Storm Sculptor here. Getting a little bit of lag right there. And then I'm going to follow up with Tsuko Umezawa Fugitive and make 3 unblockable creatures for next turn and try and flip the battle that way instead. The plan here, I think, is we've got to try and flip this to get the X1s, and then it will make these 2-1s and with Tsuko all unblockable. So that's the plan here. Whether we can pull it off is another question. Opponents had a pretty sweet draw here with, you know, Printing Champion, all the flyers, and Zephyr Singer is just fantastic. Not sure why they're not attacking us with Zephyr Singer here. They definitely should. I think it might be they don't realise that this card has Vigilance, so they are holding it back for that reason. Be interesting to see. There's going to be some consideration. I'd really love to draw any of our Convoke spells, actually. So they're going to destroy this Incubate token here now. Any of our Convoke spells would be fantastic, so it would mean we can flip the invasion without having to Volcanic Spite at this turn, for example. Kenra Spell Spear is a good one, but let's start off by casting Eyes of Gataxius. We want to leave up double red. Got to be careful with Moto. It tried to tap out 2 mountains there. So we draw another land. It's not particularly useful here. So I think the question's going to be, do we want... I think we just want to attack Utsutsuko. I'm going to have to start getting in opponent as well. Otherwise, we're just going to quickly lose this game. If they have something to bounce Tsuko, it's really annoying here, actually. If they have a Fairy's Dispersal, I think potentially we should have seen that line and attacked with all. Now we're not going to get to flip the battle. We're pretty much here forced to kill this Sailback. Pitch a card. Shatter the Source is a good one. We can play Spell Spear now and just say go. So yeah, I think there we probably should have played around them having something and just attacked with everything, but particularly something that killed Tsuko mid-combat and allowed them to eat the tokens there. Cut Short was bad for us, but Afara's Dispersal would have been particularly bad for us because they would have been able to eat both of our tokens here. But Kenrith is just going to absolutely take over this game unless we kill it. So, in a spot of bother here, but we are going to get to... We can double block this thing here. They get to put a 1/1 counter on it if they want to, but I don't think we have much of a choice into whether we do that. They can put the counter on it, but we get to at least still kill it. So it's certainly good to take out the 4/4 here. We're gonna have to use Shatter on the Kenrith this turn. Otherwise, they're just gonna. This card is just absolutely absurd. In a game that goes long, the flexibility of it is just ridiculous. So now we can Rampaging Raptor. The question is, how do we want to tap for our Shadow the Source? So we can we flip this? If we pay 3 mana, we have 7 mana, down to 4. We can actually use... Wow, I think here we actually need to just get a little bit aggressive here and just try and use this to flip this turn. So we're going to take out Kenrith, tap all of our guys, double trigger prowess here. And then because it's a trampler, we're going to get damage through no matter what. So they have to choose between chumping with the Zephyr Singer or letting us flip the battle here. I think obviously they're going to let us flip. And now we can cast Chiron. And next turn, if we draw anything that we want to pitch, we can pitch it, give all our creatures haste, and play the Rampaging Raptor. We're doing quite a bit of damage actually. So opponent does have us lethal in 2 turns in the air, but they've shown an unwillingness so far to attack with the Zephyr Singer. I think not realizing it has vigilance, so we've just got to hope they don't realize that and they leave it back. It's going to be unlikely when they've got all these fantastic blocking creatures to do that, but they might. So we're going to have 3 of these. That's going to be 10, 14, and then another 5, 19. So quite a bit of damage on the board. Depending on how they attack, I think it's pretty unlikely we win here. But if they only attack with the 3-1 and the 1-1, there's a good chance we can, draw something to kill the Zephyr Singer, attack with everyone. We'll just have to see. Temporal Cleansing there is going to probably do it. They can pay the ward cost. We can put that second from the bottom. They're probably going to attack with everyone now. So no, okay. Wow, alright. So, what do we do here? So we can actually play... I think we want to just... we can bounce the Zephyr Singer here if we wanted to. Attack with our 3/3s and just get in. They probably eat, and by 3/3s I mean the completed Conjurer and this thing and the token. This had Death Touch and I really don't want it eating this. We can hold up Dispersal as well, but if we disperse the Zephyr Singer, they'll just play it next turn. Wow, tough spot here. I think the line is to just transform this, disperse the Zephyr Singer, and force them to sort of block one of the weaker creatures with our... Okay, so Monastery Mentor. Yeah, okay, so I'm actually going to put the Kenra Spell Spear in the bin here because Mentor is just much better, and then we want to maximize the chance of drawing a non-creature spell. So, put Mentor on top. Now, I think given we're not going to be ditching any of these cards, we just want to get in with all of our 3/3s here. So now we just get in with everyone. We're going to hit them for 7. We can play the 4/4 Trample Haste creature next turn and the Mentor if we want to. Or we can just hold the Raptor for the pump for the extra damage. So, interesting game. I think the opponent has misplayed a little bit here in terms of not getting aggressive. And certainly they've misplayed by not attacking with Zephyr Singer. And that's what's held us in this game well. So they're tapping the Overgrown Pest here. That's really, really good for us. So they're getting in with the 1/1. So now we can Rampaging Raptor, and if we attack with everybody, they can block to eat this, block to eat this. I don't think we want to attack with everyone. I think we just want to get in with the Raptor. Force them to trade here. Because if we didn't, they could just block and eat, and then we're in a bit more trouble. Whereas now, wow, so yeah, that's the way we want to block. So we can't kill both. If we had a removal spell, this would be so bad for the opponent. Like if we had Stoke the Flames here, we'd Stoke Zephyr Singer, kill the Breeding Champion, and get in. Unlucky that we don't, but certainly not complaining. We've had a bit of luck this game. Run out the Mentor and say go. And now if we draw any spell, we're in a pretty good spot here. Especially if we manage to somehow hit like a draw spell, then we can hit, potentially hit another spell, double spell on the same turn, and Mentor can go absolutely nuts with multiple spells in play. And our opponent is in a tough spot because they have 3 attackers, but they can kill us in 2 turns, but they face the crackback here. So I think, we've got 9 damage on the board. I think if I was opponent, I actually think, given we've got no cards in hand, they probably want to attack us with everyone. Yeah. Because if they don't do this, and we draw anything, combat is so bad for them that if they try and play defensively here, they're probably just going to lose to the Mentor. Whereas if they do this and they attack us and we don't draw anything, then they will probably win the game next turn. But we're going to hit them for 6, 7, 9, and then we're also going to just nug them here. The Prowess triggers will trigger off the Mentor. That is a sweet, sweet top deck. And we managed to pull that one out, and I'll see everyone for the next one. Back again for game number 4, and this is another keep here. We've got Kenra Spell Spear, into Strobner, into Raptor. If we just hit our lands, we should be fine. We've also got the Volcanic Spite here to filter away a card like Shadow the Source if we aren't hitting anything. Opponent is probably just going to kill this, I think. They've probably got Realm Breaker's Grasp with the pacifism effect. Just going to straight up kill it. Or they've got Final Flourish or something like that. We've hit our land, so time to just get in for an attack. I think here, you could very easily flip, but there's something, it's very obvious opponent has something here. And I'd much rather, invest our resources in playing a second card to prevent them, from blowing us out in a 1-for-1 with a tempo advantage. So they had the Final Flourish. Now, if they tap out, there's going to be some consideration here to flipping. We also don't have anything here to play. So I think here, it's actually a lot safer to just flip. If they have something, we missed out on plane cycling and holding up this, and we lost 2 life. So in that situation, I'm happy to do that. Now we've drawn the mountain, we can run Rampaging Raptor out and just start getting in. They can't really block here. And now we have, Volcanic Spite. We can plane cycle this away as well. We're going to have Shadow the Source. And eventually this should be able to draw, a few cards. It just depend on what we draw. If we draw one of our Storm Sculptors, for example, it's going to be very good for us. So now, an interesting decision here. Opponent has left everything up. So we can Invasion of Mercadia, potentially, pitching the Intercessor or the Transcendent Message. I think given we only have 5 creatures, the message is just not going to be particularly good in this game. Although, our only other white card, and we don't have a white source yet to cast this, I think we may just pitch the Alabaster and just keep everything else. So now, we can just attack here. And whenever this deals damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to a Planeswalker or a battle. So we can threaten them, but also threaten to flip the Mercadia here, so we don't need to actually attack the battle. Now, opponent may have something here. And we've got the Volcanic Spite. So they have the Deadly Derision here. Nothing we can do about that. But let's go ahead and... I think we want to just... I think we want to hold our Volcanic Spite here and see what they play. Although there is an argument here actually to Volcanic Spiting this turn just so we can draw a land. I don't know if we want to pitch anything here. The Dreadship is going to be able to threaten to kill this, so let's just say go. We also want the Halo Charge Scarab. And I think now, if this game's going to go a bit grindy, we actually want the message. Ah, God, that was really bad. I should have just killed this in response for sure. And prevented them from getting a free 3/3 there. Forgot about the treasure token on the Deadly Derision. Man. Won't make that mistake again. So now opponent's got a 3/3 and a 2/3. They can get in here. I think there's no point in taking the damage. We should just do this now. We're going to need to grind this game now, so I think we are going to want to hit a land, and the Dreadship's not particularly good in this circumstance. Joyful Storm Sculptor. If we hit a land now, we're going to be on with the Transcendent Message. So draw the land. We can say go. Now next turn we can play Joyful Storm Sculptor and then play Transcendent Message. Shouldn't have let the opponent get the free 3/3 here and would actually be able to start attacking Invasion of Mercadia. Flip this. Xeric Strobe Knight's interesting, but we're just going to slam our Storm Sculptor here. Get the bodies out, draw a bunch of cards off Transcendent Message, then we can put it back on top with Halo Charge Scarab. Not really sure what's going on with opponent. They've got 7 lands, they haven't played anything. Most of the bombs in the format are 7 mana, so if they had something there, this could be Sunfall, the Wrath, as to why they're holding everything back. But then it would surprise me if they had... So they've got the Gloomfang Mauler here. I think we just want to pass the turn here. Say go. And depending on what they do, I mean, we can Shatter the Source the Mauler. Oh, I mean, we can just Shatter the Source the Mauler, bounce the Phyrexian here. So now they're going to seal away probably the Storm Sculptor. Or I think you potentially meant to seal the Storm Sculptor. We're going to want to kill Gloomfang Mauler here, but we're going to want to do it like this. Deal 6 damage to target creature. This. Pay 1, 2, 4. It's going to deal 1 damage to the opponent, 1 damage to their battle. Kill a Mauler. They get to kill our Storm Sculptor. But we get to bounce their token if they attack. No attacks there. So now I think we just dispersal this anyway. And we can play the Strobe Knight. So let's go ahead, bounce the 5/5. Printing Champion, Aaron Harried Artisan. Fantastic draws. I think we just want to play... Yeah, we want the Printing Champion. Attack them with the 1/1s. If they kill the 3/3 here, that's fine if they want to use a removal spell on that to prevent the battle from flipping. Deadly Derision, have fine with that. We can just flip it next turn. Opponent's down to 1 card. Don't get punished for our misplay there. They have drawn so many lands. And now I think we just start by seeing if we're going to flip here. And we hold back our 1/1. And now we can go. off a little bit. We can cast this. Cast Printing Champion. And now we can just draw. We want to create a knight first. And then we can convoke for 4 here. That's everyone, I think. Yeah, we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we should be convoking for 4. Draw a bunch of cards. Play our tap land in case we draw a Monstery Mentor. Say go. If opponent has Sunfall here, we're actually in a fine position. We've got Stoke. We've got a hasty creature. Wow, Glisser. Not one I was expecting there. Glisser's an awesome one in this spot. Maybe one of the only cards that can potentially get us here. So now I think what we want to do is we want to get in. We want to go wide here. So we can play Harried Artisan. And then pitch the land to, sorry, the land here. Make a bunch of creatures. And then we just, I mean, we've got, opponent can block 3, so they can block 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and a 2-1. We get in for 8. Yeah, we just get in here. See what opponent does. I mean, they can kill the Harried Artisan, kill the knight, the 3/2 knight. They can't eat our Chiron. We're going to get another knight post-combat as well. And they have to have something pretty good here to, you know, stop us from winning. Opponent doesn't have anything. We smash down for a bunch of damage. And I'll see you for the next one. Back again for game number 5. This is a keep. We've got Printing Champion into Transcendent Message, as well as Marauding Dreadship and Stoke. So potential to combo off a little bit here. You know, if we play Printing Champion, we're going to have 6 things on the battlefield on turn 4. And by 6 things, I mean 6 mana sources. And we can play Eyes, we can play Dreadship, we can play Stoke. They're going to play their own Eyes there. Lots of cards I would have rather draw. But here I think we just play Marauding Dreadship and we just hit them for 5. So we're going to crew with the Champion. Get in for 5. And now next turn we can play Eyes, flip an Incubate token. You know, we can flip this to crew this. Or we can just draw 3. It would be so sweet if you could use the Incubate tokens unflipped for Convoke, but that would, I think, make them a little bit busted in combination. Opponent is on Sultai. It's one of my favorite decks in the format. I love blue-black. I like green-black. I don't mind green-blue either, but I think that if you're playing green-black or blue-black, which are probably 2 of the better decks, it's always good to keep an eye out for Jungle Hollows because there are a lot of green cards to splash and there's some good overlap between the synergies in the decks. So, opponent putting the Marauding Dreadship on top here. I think this is actually just one of the worst cards in our deck and there's so much I'd rather draw. So, I'm going to go ahead and say no to that one. Let's see what we draw first here off our Eyes. Xeric Strobe Knight is a good one, but let's just get in here for 5. Just want to put the pressure on the opponent here. Like next turn we can flip and play Xeric Strobe Knight, and then, you know, we can set up some pretty good turns. Opponent's going to flip that 3/3. You know, but now we can just draw 4 off of Transcendent Message. You know, so they've got Cosmic Hunger there. It's good for the opponent. Wow, we can just Alabaster Host Intercessor here, but don't think we want to do that. I think we just want to flip the token. I mean, there's an argument here for stoking the flames, because if we stoke, they're 3/3. Then they're at 6, and we can Alabaster Host Intercessor the last creature away. I think I'd rather just play... Oh, This is actually a pretty tough decision. If they have 2 creatures next turn, we get punished a fair bit for this line. I think it's actually fine to just stoke this. We hit them for 6. They have to have 2 blockers or we just kill them with Alabaster. Whereas the other line, we don't get to attack with everyone. So they're going to incubate here. That's really awkward for us because we can't actually Alabaster that particular play. So that was nice from the opponent. I think we can draw... We've got 7 lands, 10 creatures. So we can draw 6 cards. Or if we play the Xeric Strobe Knight, we can draw 4. I think we just want to get the creature on the battlefield. And Moto has tapped my lands wrong there. So we can't actually cast the Transcendent Message this turn. Oh no, we could never have cast the Transcendent Message, sorry. That's my mistake. We don't have enough blue, no matter which way we tapped. So we can now Transcendent Message next turn off of all of our creatures and lands. Opponent can't really attack with our 6/6s. So they need a blocker in the air. Interesting game. Maybe we were meant to just Alabaster Host Intercessor the 3/3 actually, to get the extra body on the battlefield and go a bit wider and save Stoke to go to their face. I think that's actually probably the line there. I think I was a little bit too worried about, maximizing the value out of my cards and instead not playing for the win. We've also just given them access now to Halo Forager, the Stoke the Flames, which can kill the Xeric Strobe Knight. If they do go for that line, though, we just win. So, could get a bit lucky here if they go for Stoke. Yeah, so they're going to Stoke the Xeric Strobe Knight here. I think. Oh, no, we're not going to get to win this turn. Because they're still going to have the 3/1 blocker. So, Volcanic Spite's a good one. We can't do both. We can just Intercessor the 6/6. This doesn't go face, does it? No. Okay, so we just take out the 6/6 here. They don't get it back. Swing with everybody. They'll block the 3/3. We deal 3. We have 1 lethal creature on the battlefield. They have 1 blocker. Herbology Instructor. Man, would be really good if we could kill that before it flips. So now, opponent can... I think we just want to draw a bunch of cards. We've got 6. They didn't want to take the damage here. They can flip this, but I think we just draw like a million. Because if we attack, they just flip this, they eat this, they eat this. We don't have any good attacks. The 3 life off Herbology Instructor was super relevant. So now they can transform their Incubate token. But so they're meeting some minds. There's a good chance they try and flip this turn. If they do, we'll Volcanic Spite it for sure. We have 8 mana, 11 mana. So we can draw 7 or we can Volcanic Spite and draw 5. Much prefer to draw 7. But if they try and flip this, we just kill it. So they don't take out our 2/2. Jin Gataxius. Okay. So opponent's back in it. I think we potentially cost ourselves by not alabastering. But we're going to cast this for 7 here. So we're going to give ourselves a good shot to get back in this one. Alrighty. Got a lot of options. Right, here. So, we've got 8 mana, 9 mana, plus we've got... How many Convoke cards do we have? We have 1 Convoke card in hand. I'm just thinking the Storm Sculptors are going to be pretty useful here to try and kill them. I think we want to hold up the Shadow the Source if for some manner of ways they get to and the Volcanic Spite. So I think we play the land, play a Joyful Storm Sculptor, and that's going to give us enough mana. It's going to give us 6 bodies, so that's Shatter the Source. We want to hold up Volcanic Spite. So let's just go ahead and play the Captive Weird as well. And now we just say go. And the way we're going to try and kill them here is through... So they have their own Captive Weird here. If they try and flip that, I think we kill it in response. We don't want them drawing the card. They've got no cards in hand, okay. So whatever they try and flip here, we're going to kill. So let's Volcanic Spite this thing. Not going to put a card in our library. We're happy with all our cards. I would be scared if I saw my opponent do that. And now, if we shatter Jin Gataxius, they have 4 blockers. So we have... So yeah, if we shatter Jin here, they have 4 blockers. They can block 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got a 5. The Rampaging Raptor can hit them for... We have 9 mana. If we draw a land, it can hit them for 6 trample. I think we just maximize here. Oh! No, we do not want to do that. This thing has ward too. Okay. Jesus. Let's just go to our turn. Okay, Dispersal. Okay, so now let's cast the Storm Sculptor. And then we'll get them next turn. And we'll have Dispersal as well. So, okay. We say go. And now we can Shatter the Source, the Jin. Now we Shatter the Source, Jin. Somewhat awkward, like, they're going to flip this, get a free card. I wonder if there's any value here, actually, in just shattering this and not giving them the card. I think there is. I don't think Jin's actually doing that a whole lot. Let's just tap all of our creatures here to do this. So now, because now we can also cast Dispersal end step. So we can disperse the 6/6 here. We don't want them getting the card. Probably more valuable, and that's the win. Alrighty, on to the next one. Alrighty, welcome back for game number 6. This is a hand that I'm going to keep on the draw. I've got the Dispersal, and Mercadia is a great one to draw here, I think. So they've got Order of the Mirror. So we can... I think we want an invasion of Mercadia. The question is, what do we want to invade? Our other option is to just pass and hold the plains, cycle this for a plains, and then hold up Volcanic Spite in case they flip this. And I think I actually prefer that line. So we're going to ship the turn here. They're going to attack. We'll go and get a plains. We can just do this a bit later, and it is important to get the plains in case we do draw the Monstery Mentor. So opponent's got 3 lands. Probably going to cast like a Preening Champion here or another Order of the Mirror. So now the choice is, I think we just Alabaster here because we can Volcanic Spite one and Dispersal the other one. So it certainly, you know, doesn't tempo us out at all. So now we want to play the plains. We could, I think we actually want to cycle away this invasion here. So we can afford them, you know, we can afford to take 2 here. And Cyber Cryptomancer is not really doing much on this board state here for us. So we just want to draw into our lands to start getting these Storm Sculptor down. So opponent's got a green splash. Definitely going to bounce one of these, the orders, to slow them down from a tempo perspective. Now I've got Rampaging Raptor and Stoke the Flames here. I actually think we need to bottom both of these because we just really need to hit a land. We really just want to hit land in order to allow us to Storm Sculptor, and draw a ton off the draw a ton off the Transcendent Message here. So it's a bit awkward because there's some of our better cards, but it's important here that we just hit those land drops. So now we get that land. Like, we could have theoretically risked not hitting it. So now I've got the choice between killing this now. I think given they're in white, we actually just want to take this out. We don't want to put a card in our library. And the reason for doing that is because there's the card that gives protection from a color and +1/+1 counter. And if we, if we played that on their turn, they play that in response, then not only would they get to prevent our removal spell, but they would get to have a 2/4 double striker after that. So now we're just going to run out the Storm Sculptor here. Next turn, we can Storm Sculptor and Shatter the Source this, and then Transcendent Message the turn after. So as long as the opponent doesn't have anything incredibly busted, we're in a pretty good spot here. So no blocks, take 3. Opponent's probably going to play this, and I guess they're going to flip it. Probably going to flip it here. So now we can play another Storm Sculptor, and then we can say go. No attacks here, and we can block 1 Alabaster and then convoke this out. Also, there's some argument potentially to just Shatter the Source this on their end step. I mean, if they attack with everybody and we shatter this, we're going to have 6, 8 creatures. 6, 12, 18. So it's not quite enough. I think we just want to take them out and rely on the Transcendent Message to draw a ton of cards here. Also, when we're going to... So now we can block here. Gets -1/-1. And we take out the other Alabaster. And we ping them for 2 and ping the battle for 2 as well. So, yeah, we're going to get to flip the battle off the Transcendent Message as well. So that's... Wow, the Storm Sculptors are great when you get to have some battles. So I countered that. I mean, that's really nice for them there. These are going to be tough to deal with, but we have a lot of cards. So they're getting a 2/2 here. So now we have 10 things to play. We have 10 mana, sorry. So we can draw 6 off this. The other option is... So I think we just want to play Captive Weird here. And then say go. The reason for playing the Captive Weird there is it's a good blocker for the 2/2. And it's also free given it replaces itself with Convoke. We're also going to block both of these here. We just don't want them getting in for damage. We do need to find a way to kill them eventually. So Wrath is a sweet one here. They're going to get to pump the team as well. So I think here we want to double block the 2/2. They can pump and trade for one of these, but that's fine. Then we're going to block and block here so that we don't take any damage this turn. We're going to get to flip our thing. We're going to get to draw a bunch of cards off of Transcendent Message here. So go ahead and Transcendent Message for 6. Auto pay and take the battle out as well. Ton of value here. They're going to pump there. We hit them down. Get to cast Chiron. Draw 6 here. So really needed some removal, but did not hit it. This is going to be a tough one. So now we can... we can still chump here, which I think is going to have to probably be the plan. So we can double Strobe Knight and start going off by double spelling and playing out knights. So I think that's probably what we're going to be doing. The question will be, what are we attacking with here? So I think let's play a mountain. Let's play a Strobe Knight. Play another Strobe Knight. And then I think we just want to get in with the Xerxes. They can trade that Wrath for it, but... And now next turn we may actually... This turn we may chump. Oh, wow. So Marshal of Zhalfir is really good here. Okay. So they get to put a 1-1 counter on every creature they control. These are absolutely massive problems for us. I think they're going to attack with... They should probably attack with both. I mean, they're actually quite low. So here they have 2 blockers. I think we just want to chump here. So we just chump those. They -1. We take no damage. And now we can, I think, play... We want to play the Artisan and the Eyes of Cataxius. Or we can play the Spell Spear and Eyes. Let's start by playing Eyes first, see what we draw. Monastery Mentor. So we're definitely going to want to play that one. So now... or do we want to play the Mentor this turn? Yeah, I think we do actually, because if we draw any spells, we can give them all haste with Chiron. So, Monastery Mentor comes down. Play the Windscrag. We get into combat with our Knights. And then we just create some blockers for us here. Opponent's at 10, so now they have to really think about how they're attacking here, because if we have any ways to create tokens here. So opponent is going to get in. I'm going to tap us down presumably here. Don't know what this attack is. They're just dead on the crackback. I don't actually think... Oh no, they've all got vigilance. That's... Yeah, no, that's my bad. Don't know if you can attack with Wrath here. You don't want to give up the Wrath. Or the Marshal of Zhalfir here. So they tap that down. We can double block the Marshal, chump this. Oh, this is actually quite awkward because this means we have to give up the Mentor because we're taking 6 here. So we can keep Monastery Mentor. Harried Artisan. Oh, so Harried Artisan's a 3/4. We have 3 damage here. So we have 6 damage. And this is a... Yeah, okay. So we don't want to double block here. We just want to block everyone. Take... Oh, we can keep Monastery Mentor alive, actually. We just want to triple chump. And then play the Harried Artisan. Oh, we can't flip the Artisan and give it... Oh, we can't. So yeah, this is a really tough spot here. We can't flip the Artisan and give everyone haste and give them haste. We have 7 mana. We're going to have... This costs 6 to play out. This is another 2 here. We can give the Spell Spear haste. I think we just have to block like this and just keep getting in with our flyers here. And potentially we want to create some... We want to create some blockers with the Chiron here. So we can, play the land. We can play Spell Spear, play Artisan, double spell, and then do this to create 2 chump blockers. So if we do that, let's go ahead, run this out, give everyone haste here. And let's see, if we swing out here, they've got 3 blockers, so they can block. Oh, they're just dead. Because we attack with everybody. This is 6 in the air. They block 1, 2, 3, and they can't block. Oh. It's a misclick there. I meant to attack with everybody, but we did not. So now, opponent has seen enough regardless. We had enough to get the win there. A few misplays in that game. Complex, but managed to get the win. The deck is really, really strong. I'll see you for the next one. Alrighty, back for game number 7 with another keeper. We've got Spell Spear. We've got Joyful Storm Sculptor. We've got the Transcendent Message. And the awesome thing about this card is it actually fixes triple blue for the Convoke. So, very strong there. In order to be able to allow us to cast this, and if we have 6 lands in play with just one of these, you can draw 5 cards. So they've played Portent Tracker, and this allows us to actually go ahead and just safely flip this, which is great for us because it's really difficult to kill this thing once it's been flipped. It's a Trample Ward 2 double prowess, so pretty quick clock for the opponent. They have played Portent Tracker. Wouldn't be surprised to see Blight Burgeoning here. It's one of the better little combos in the format in terms of ramp. Blight Burgeoning is an enchantment that makes a land tap for an additional mana, and then you can untap it with the tracker and effectively get 4 mana off the 1 land in the Portent Tracker. So now we're going to pass. I think opponent will potentially be scared we have something up here, especially considering Alabaster Host Intercessor is making us pause on every draw step. The next turn we're just going to cast the Storm Sculptor, and then the turn after that we'll be able to attack and cast Transcendent Message. Xeric Strobnight's certainly a good one here. It's going to get in for 2. They're probably going to double spell this turn and get a token off it, which is unfortunate. No, so they're Mountain Cycling. Okay, so unlikely they'll be able to double spell. That's really good for us. The fact that they've had to slow down a little bit, they're going to have to play a 3-drop here. It's awesome. We don't want to play the land out here. So now we just want to get in. I don't think there's any way opponent can reasonably block here, and if they do, it's still a 2-for-1. So opponent's untapping the land, so I think they probably have like a Vanquish the Weak. No, so they have Dispersal here. Okay, that's fine. That's fine this turn. We're just going to cast Storm Sculptor and then draw a ton of cards. So, we're going to Storm Sculpt. We can Rouse Reinforcements as well, and we can even play Rouse and Spell Spear next turn. But I think next turn we'll probably just play Rouse Reinforcements, and then if we draw 1 land, we'll be able to draw 5 because this replaces the mana. So, no, if we draw a land, we'll be killing this. So, Borborygrimus and Philip is one of the coolest mythic rares, I think, and one of the coolest pairings. This huge Cyclop monster with a tiny little homunculus. They're going to get to kill one of our creatures. They bash for 2. We don't draw the land, so spot a bother there. I think here, so our options are, we can play Storm Sculptor and only draw 1. That seems terrible. We can play Halo Charge Scarb, or we can just play Rouse and Kenra. I think we just want to play, if we play Rouse and Kenra, we're going to have 5 bodies and 1 mana, so we can draw 2. Doesn't seem that good. This thing doesn't have Trample, so I think we just play out the second Storm Sculptor here. Say go. We're going to have to cast this at some point, but we really want to stabilize before we do it. Man, Borborygrimus is so good. Enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card, then you may discard any number of land cards. When you discard 1 or more cards this way, it deals twice that much damage to target creature. So it's a huge 6/5, it draws you a card, and it can turn your lands into removal spells. So if they have 2 lands in hand, for example, they can just kill the Joyful Storm Sculptor. So not an easy spot to be in. We certainly need to deal with it. I would love to draw a land. So they're going to ping one of our little guys. We're going to have to chump here because we just cannot afford to take 6 while we've got to deal with this aerial threat. So the Storm Sculptors are not doing us wonders with Convoke, but they are preserving our life total here. Opponent's really going to have something sweet here. So there's the Blighted Burgeoning. Now they, now they still have 5 mana this turn. They're going to get a Knight. And they're just going to play the 2/3s, putting in some work here. If we can draw a land this turn and kill Borborygmus, we'll probably be in a pretty good spot. Just have to actually draw the land. So prayers for a land here. We don't hit the land. That's pretty brutal. Well, we need to make sure we draw a land next turn. I think we're going to tap the white source here. Invasion. I think we're pitching a Halo Charge Scarb. Just because we want to be able to cast both of these spells this turn. So, Volcanic Spite. So we can play Rouse because we need the chump blocker. And then we can play the Spite on the flyer. That seems pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this line. Let's kill that. And let's not pitch anything. Decline. Let's play Rouse Reinforcements. And then next turn we can Alabaster away the 6/5. We're going to have to chump. No attacks. We say go. Yeah, next turn, like if they don't have another flyer, so they're going to flip that token here, but we have the 2/3s to block all these 2/2s. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3 to block the 2/2. Opponent gets to ditch their land. We say go. The host Alabaster though is going to also help stabilize because it can block on the ground. So that's shipping with the team. Wouldn't be surprised if they have 2 lands if they just kill the Storm Sculptor here. I think that's probably correct because it makes our blocks a lot harder. Yeah, they're going to do that. So that resolves. We are going to chump and then eat. The reason we're eating the pest is we have Dispersal in our deck, so we potentially will want, be able to just kill one of these tokens with Dispersal. So Mentor is a good one. Let's go ahead and cast this, and we are just praying the opponent does not have a removal spell here. So Alabaster will exile the Borborygmus, and we just have to pray, and they have it. So that's game. Opponent had a really sweet 5-color control deck. So hopefully now we are 6-2, and I'll see you for the next one. I misspoke before. We are 5-2, so we'll be going for the last 2 wins here to try and get the trophy. This hand on the draw is good. We have Spell Spear, Rails Reinforcements, Storm Sculptor. We have a Planescycler to go and get a land, so I think we're definitely going to keep this hand. I can sort of see us playing out, if we draw 1 land here, we can go Spell Spear. If they play something on turn 3, we can flip the Spell Spear. And then on turn 4, we can Alabaster and we can Planescycle and then Rouse Reinforcements or Invasion of Mercadia. So now we're going to go ahead and run out the Spell Spear. Looks like we're against a similar opponent here with Tracker. It could just be green-blue ramp, but a lot of the time when I see the Tracker, I expect to see the Burgeoning as well. So it doesn't look like that's what we're getting here. Looks like we're getting a 4-drop. Converter Beast. So that's fine. We can potentially draw Dispersal here to deal with that. Now really awkward because we've drawn the 1 land we probably didn't want to see with the tap land. So our options are to Invasion of Mercadia or to play out Rails Reinforcements. And I think we just want to play the Invasion here. And I think we're going to pitch probably the Alabaster. Although no, I think we're going to pitch the Halo Charge Scarb here. And the reason for that is is what just happened. Is I wanted to make sure next turn we could at very least plane cycle this and then play Rail's Reinforcements. So I'm going to hit it for 3 here, down to 1. And now if we draw land, we can also just Rampaging Raptor them as well. So opponent kind of has to leave back the 5/5 blocker here. Otherwise, they're in a bit of trouble. If we have anything to clear it, we can flip our invasion. And they don't know, but we'll be plane cycling and playing Rail's Reinforcements and then trying to get the Storm Sculptors online, and eventually one of the Convoke cards will flip the battle. Opponent's got 4 cards in hand. We'd really love to draw Dispersal here for that Incubate 5 token. Not a massive fan of this Converter Beast. It's good if you've got flicker effects for sure, but it's 6 mana basically over 2 turns for a 5/5. If you don't have any flicker effects. And then because of Dispersal, there are so many ways in which the opponent can interact with this favorably. So now we've drawn the land. And I think, so here we've got to be conscious they can just untap a land and flip the incubated token. So we don't just want to attack into that. I think what we want to do is we want to just plane cycle this to get our planes and then just play Rail's Reinforcements here. It's just going to guarantee that we can Storm Sculptor next turn and set up a really big Transcendent message here. So cast like this, they're going to get to flip that token, but they can't really attack with it yet. And we have a lot of ways to flip this at some point and start going wide on the board. So yeah, they're going to flip that token, and hopefully off the message we'll be able to draw one of our Dispersals to just deal with this, or Shatter the Source. Alternatively, we've got plenty of chump blockers like we did last game against the Borbu Grimace, but Surprise I think doesn't have Trample, but I think if it did have Trample, it would just be way too good. So the Flywheel Racer is not doing much here, but it is a crew 1, so they can crew it if they want to with that tracker. Or they can also use that tracker here to put defense counters on this, which is one of the lesser used abilities on this thing. Love this card, and it's a very versatile card. Ramping, great if you've got battles, great if you've got Blighted Burgeoning and you're trying to play the 5-color deck. So opponent passes. We're just going to run out Storm Sculptor. They probably have Artistic Refusal here, but we just can't not play anything. So Annihilate Essence instead, not as bad as the Artistic Refusal. No attacks. Lucky for us and unlucky for opponent, we have another one. So, and I mean next turn actually, if we draw a land, we can just Harried Artisan, flip it. So they've killed our Prowess creature. Don't know if they wanted to do that there or if they wanted to wait for us to flip it, but I think it's fine. I'm pretty glad that the Collective Nightmare isn't around to, take down the Artisan or mess with the Storm Sculptors. So definitely not blocking here. We might chump next turn, but we can probably take another 5 mana hit here down to 11. Don't know how much many more creatures the opponent has in hand, given they haven't really played any. If we draw Fiari's Dispersal here, there is a strong argument actually to playing the Raptor and then bouncing that token. But so yeah, opponent has left themselves in a bit of a difficult situation here, because we can now actually just run the Raptor out and flip the battle, which I think we want to do. So we're going to go ahead and run out the Rampaging Raptor. Pray this last card is not a removal spell. It's another Annihilate Essence, so that's a good one. If we're not going to chump here, then I think we just want to get in and take it down 1 peg. So opponent has to chump. We get to ping it down to 1. They have to, they now have to decide between attacking and letting the battle flip. Wow, okay. So that's a good one. Now they can hit us for 13. off the top, that is a really nice draw for them. It'll be tough for us to deal with that. We really want to draw Afari's Dispersal here. That would be by far and away the best possible draw. They're only attacking us with one of them. That is good news. Preening Champion here. So now there's an argument, I think. So we could play Storm Sculptor, and then we've got 5 creatures. We can potentially just use... I think there's an argument here to just play the Storm Sculptor and then use it to flip in response to this. But then we take 10, so we can't actually do that. The other argument is to play out Preening Champion, play out Harried Artisan, be able to flip that way and then play the Storm Sculptor. Is the other line. So we just flip it next turn, but this way, depending on how they sequence, I think we just play Storm Sculptor here and hope that we can chump and then draw, because once we've chumped and flipped the battle, we don't really care too much about these 1/1s other than the Chiron being able to pump them and make the team get in for a ton of damage. This is a sweet top deck from the opponent. So it's certainly not ideal for this to be a divination, but when it's a divination that also flips the battle potentially, then see, now we're not going to get to flip the battle. So, but opponent now, like, wow, okay. So Ozolith the Shattered Spine can start putting 1/1 counters on their artifacts and creatures. So, I mean, really at this point, there's not that much difference between a 5/5 and a 6/6. Other than, of course, okay, so now I think we're going to just chump here and here, and then Transcendent Message for 2. Draw 2 here. Captive Weed's a good one. We can play all of these cards now. So we can just flip the Mercadia. So we get to go ahead and get that one down. Play a land out. Play Captive Weird. Play Preening Champion. And Harried Artisan. Next, now I've gone very, very wide. So, I mean, next turn we can, depending on what the opponent does, we have a bunch of attackers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, now I've got to decide. So let's see, they're at 22. Chiron's going to make we can flip the Captive Weird, do this with Chiron. We're gonna have to block one of these. So we block this. We're gonna have 4 of these, that's 8. Another 3 is 11, 15, 18, and then 21. So it's not quite enough, and I think because of that we just want to block both of these. So we have an unlimited supply of 2/1s effectively if we want to just chump here. That's fine. Because now we're going to flip. Yeah, so we can flip here and cast the Strobe Knight. But then we can't create 2/1s. So I think we just want to, we do want to create the 1/1s because it's going to give this haste as well. So let's create our 1/1s here. And these are just going to be our little chump blockers. We get to hit them for 6 in the air. Don't really want to attack. I think we can attack with the 3/3 here. They have to, no, they can just trade their Flywheel Racer for it. So let's just get in the air. And every time we do this, we're getting them lower and lower, and it's making it more and more likely that our swing out will be enough to win the game. So opponent has to be considering more and more how they're attacking. So we have, like next turn we can just create 2 1/1s. We have 10, 13, this will be 13, 17, 20, 23, and then 26, and they'll have 4 blockers depending on how they attack, so they can block here, 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 and here. So let's get down on 10. It's going to be pretty close. I think we'll just wait to see how they attack, and then we can do a little bit of combat math. The good thing is we're going to get to see what this card is. So we're going to have perfect information. They've gone 1 top. Wow, Invasion of Innistrad. That is a sweet, sweet one. Opponent's deck is really cool. Like, green-blue base with these red cards. The splashing Collective Nightmare. Although they could just be splashing the counter spells. So, no, I think it's most likely green-blue base, given they're playing Invasion of Pyrulia. So, now opponent can Bloodfell Caves here and use that to cast the invasion. They've got to think about, more importantly, what they're attacking. If they can kill Chiron, I think they probably should kill Chiron. Chiron's the big problem for them. It's just giving them giving us unlimited blockers, and also pumping our whole team, giving everyone haste, so making everything a really big threat. So they couldn't put counters on this turn. So now they're attacking Invasion of Innistrad, probably. No, they're just attacking us. So they're attacking the Invasion of Pyrulia. They're attacking the Invasion of Innistrad. So we don't want this to flip. I don't know how much we care. No, we don't really want... The question is just, do we want... Like, when do we want to be chumping? We definitely don't want this one to flip, because it just gives them multiple bodies, which is really bad for us. Whereas this is a trample ward 2/2. I think I'm actually happy to chump both here and just continue to slow them down in their grand quest to flip the battles. Wow, Dispersal is just such an amazing draw here. So we can Dispersal the 7/7 here, which means I think we just want to flip. So we've got 7 mana. We can pay a life here to hold up Dispersal and flip the Captive Weird. But I think we just want to just flip this one. We don't... Life's actually pretty important here. And now we're going to get in for 7 damage. So opponent has to be quite careful with how they attack. We could flip here, but I think it's better to just do it next turn, hold up Dispersal. Dispersal being able to just take out the token is just absurd, because now we can just chump 1 this turn. We don't even have to chump, depending on what, like, how they attack. If they attack us, just need to sneak in 2 more points of damage somehow. Super close game. Opponent's deck's sweet. Our deck's pretty cool. Would have loved... We haven't gone off with Monstery Mentor that much yet. Monstery Mentor's the kind of card that when you can play it on turn 3, it just absolutely takes over the game. So, okay, so opponent is now coming for us. We can take 4 here, so we will block the 7/7. And then we should have bounced this actually before. 4 blockers, but don't think there's anything in green, black or red that can stop this. So now, stoke the flames. Okay. Oh, sweet win. So we're going to get to attack them in the air and then stoke the flames them. So that's an awesome win. Join me in the next one when we go for the trophy. Alrighty, final game, going for the trophy. Got Rails Reinforcements, got Volcanic Spite. Only 2 lands, but we're on the draw. So I think this is fine. There's a lot of upside if we draw land, and Spite allows us to have the extra shot at it as well. And there's just so much upside in this hand with, curving out. So love to see the mountain there. Get to play Rails, Spite, and then hopefully into Rampaging Raptor, and then we can Transcendent Message as well. Probably don't even have to, we're probably not going to have to put anything on the bottom. So pretty sweet. Hit the plains as well. Love to draw Monstery Mentor this turn, but you can't ask for it all. So let's just, that is a really good one though as well. So probably one of the better draws in our deck other than Mentor. Because now we get to, we're just curving out here. Opponent has played an Eyes of Gataxius. They haven't affected the board yet other than this. They can flip it, but they're not going to be able to stop the Raptor. And they're not going to be able to stop the Knight. So we are getting in. They're probably just going to flip this here. So they could have a counter spell here, but I think it's more likely they're just going to flip this. They do not have a profitable block here. So we're just bashing in. They're going to transform. I mean, next turn now we can, we can actually transcend it for a lot. So, okay, failed conversion is a good one. So depending on what we draw here, I think we're going to want to just probably Transcendent Message for 3, because we can just Halo Charge Scarlet back. And we still get to get in the air as well, so Blight of Burgeoning. Opponent is also on the Sultai good stuff here, so now I think we definitely want to Transcendent Message. We can do it for 4 this turn. So we just get in the air. We say go. And now opponent's probably going to put us on something like Artistic Refusal as well. Well, they're not particularly worried about it because they've just wheeled out the Amori. So naming creature, playing War Historian, they will probably just pass the turn now. I think actually there you probably want to just get in with the 3/3, but so we've got 8 mana. Do this for 4. Get to draw 4. At the end of their turn. Printing Champion, Storm Sculptor, Invasion of Mercadia. So now a lot of choices. So if we play Printing Champion, that gives us 5 bodies. We can play Volcanic Spite, and then we can end step Shatter the Source as well. That seems pretty good. Yeah, I like this line. So, got the blue-red. Probably should have tapped the white there, but I'm going to get to kill the Reach creature here. Pretty happy with all of our cards in our hand. So going to decline. Should be scary if you're the opponent. And then attack in with the flyer. Create a Knight. And then we still have enough mana here to Shatter the Source off our Convoke, because these are blue and red. So they can return target creature or battle. So they're going to go ahead and get the War Historian. Oh, we should have Shattered the Source in response to that, actually. That's my bad. So now we're just going to have to shatter this, because we just want to be getting in the air. We don't want to be slowing down the aggression here. Certainly not something we're really interested in doing. So now we have some decisions to make. I think we want an Invasion of Mercadia here just to draw into some gas. And I think the card we want to get rid of is going to be the Kenra Spellspear. I want to keep the Cyber Cryptomancers in order to... Actually, I think it might be this Storm Sculptor. Let's Storm Sculptor's not doing a ton on this board, and Kenra Spell Spear guarantees a double spell here, so. And we can play Kenra and hold up Cyber. Whereas if we draw land, we're just tapping out of it this and giving them the option to have a removal spell to kill one of our flyers. So, and Halo Charge Scarb is going to allow us to go back and get removal or another Transcendent. So yeah, I think actually we pitched the Storm Sculptor there. Then we just play out a tap land, play out the Spell Spear. Now there is an argument here to flip, but I think we really just want to get in. Deal 5, make another 2/2, and then next turn we're going to be able to kill by just swinging out. But if they have anything, we get to flash this and give hexproof to it. So opponent has to be able to kill. Have 2 removal spells here. They have to be able to deal with all our creatures as well, because if they block with everybody, I think we still get a ton of damage through. So the opponent has to have a lot here, and we'd get to flip this as well. So gonna be tough for the opponent here. Looks likely we're gonna get the trophy with this deck, I think. Especially given they've led with the Wary Thespian. This isn't going to draw them a card. This has been a really sweet deck. Regardless of the outcome here, I've really enjoyed playing with this one. So now it's our turn. We have 8 mana. So we can just go ahead and cast this to clear a blocker and then just swing with the team. And then we have Cyber's Cryptomancer as well. So go ahead and take out the Amori. And then swing with the squad at opponent. Hopefully we don't need to cast anything. Hopefully they don't have a double spell that I'm not thinking of, and they actually manage to just blow us out. So, wow, C double. Create a token that's a copy of target creature. So I think Hexproof will prevent that from working. Yeah, it can't target it if it has Hexproof. Yeah, so we just run out Cyber Cryptomancer here. We have enough on the ground. Swamp Cycling. I think opponent knows what's up. Cyber Cryptomancer goes on that. We get our damage through, and that is the trophy. Got us up to rank 606. I did have fun. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for future videos as well. And also leave a comment with anything you would have done differently or what you enjoyed about the draft. Let's just take one last look at the deck. It's a pretty sweet one with Transcendent Message. Also had Monstery Mentor, double Knight, double Storm Sculptor, and also a Rampaging Raptor. Was also really impressed with the Invasion with Spell Spear. I particularly enjoyed Tetsuko as well in this draft. And to be honest, just liked all of these cards. Blue has some very solid commons that come late, which filled out the deck. We certainly had some of the better red cards for the deck as well. So this was a sweet one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.